Good evening, and welcome to the July 23rd council meeting for Muskogee. And please stand for the invocation by Council Member Marlon Coleman, followed by the flag salute.
Let us pray. God, we thank you so much for this opportunity, Lord, to do what we can for the residents of this city. I pray, oh God, for the direction of your Holy Spirit. And I pause, oh God, to thank you for the grace that you've already shown upon our city. Lord, where things could have been bad or worse, your grace has kept us this long. And I pray, oh God, that it will continue beyond this point and for many, many years to come, not just for our generation, but for every generation that shall live in our great city that we call Muskogee. Do these things for us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
And attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We are missing the mayor and Councilman Van. Does someone want to?
I make a motion we excuse them.
Second.
Okay. Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston?
Yes.
Patrick Cale?
Yes.
Marlon Coleman?
Yes.
Wayne Johnson?
Yes.
Derek Reed?
Yes.
Dan Hall?
Here.
Jamie Stout?
Here.
The motion carries. You all have had a chance to look at the minutes. Is there anything you want to mention? Anybody find anything wrong with them?
Move for approval.
Second.
With that, Patrick. Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston?
Yes.
Patrick Cale?
Yes.
Marlon Coleman?
Yes.
Wayne Johnson?
Yes.
Derek Reed?
Yes.
Dan Hall?
Yes.
Jamie Stout?
Yes.
And the motion carries. Is there anything you want to move from the consent agenda to the regular agenda?
Move for approval.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston?
Yes.
Patrick Cale?
Yes.
Marlon Coleman?
Yes.
Wayne Johnson?
Yes.
Derek Reed?
Yes.
Dan Hall?
Yes.
Jamie Stout?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 9.
Consider approval of ordinance number 4051A, amending the City of Muskogee Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 1, General Provisions, Section 1-14, General Penalties, continuing violations, establishing maximum fine and costs for speed limit violations of 10 or less, providing for repealer, severability, and declaring an emergency or take other necessary action.
Mr. Tucker.
Madam Deputy Mayor, members of the council, in this past legislative session, the legislature passed Senate Bill 1203, which limited the total amount of a speeding fine that could be charged for violations that are 1 to 10 miles per hour. The limitation set the fine at $5 with $95 in court costs, which would effectively mean that speeding 1 to 10 would be $100. The legislature also has allocated how those costs are to be attributed to the different agencies, such as CLEAT. The judge's retirement, I believe, is one of them. And so what we've done, as many of you know, we have most of our fines established by the judge. And we have some general guidelines for the maximum amount of fees that are permitted under state statute, and those are in Section 1-14. So what we've proposed is an amendment to Section 1-14, which addresses the maximum amount of fine. Under prior state guidance, the maximum amount for a speeding violation could not exceed $200. And so what we've done, since this carve-out has occurred through the state legislature, is we've included an exception to that general term in Section C2 of Section 1-14. And what that does is articulate specifically the state law, the new state law that will go into effect on August 2nd to limit those fines to 1 to 10 miles per hour at $100. So this will put us in conformance with what the state legislature has obligated us to, and so that's why we've put this directly on council rather than going through committee. And we also did declare it as an emergency so that it will be effective prior to its effective date in the state legislature. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
How are the $95 in court costs administrated? Where does that money flow?
I'd have to pull the statute, but there are several provisions. I think it's allocated about 10 different ways. CLEAT gets some money. The city gets some money. If you'll give me just a few minutes, I can.
Yeah.
If I have internet, I can.
You don't have to do that. You answered my question.
Okay.
So some money goes back to the police force.
Yes.
Okay.
I believe it's $33.74.
That answers my question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
And the motion carries, and we need the emergency.
Motion that we declare an emergency.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
And the motion carries. Item 10.
Receive report from the Greater Muskogee Area Chamber of Commerce as to project status and progress towards achieving the objectives outlined in the 2017-2018 program of work for the city's tourism contract and take any necessary action.
Yes, so this is the report from the Chamber. They are our tourism contractor. They're going to let us know kind of their annual report for what they've done last year, and then we'll also move ahead to look to the future a little bit. DJ Thompson's here, as is Ashley Wilburn and Justin O'Neill, to help make the presentation.
Okay, am I on? Thank you. DJ Thompson with the Chamber of Commerce, President and CEO. Thank you, City Council, Mr. City Manager, for the opportunity to be here tonight. We appreciate it. I just very quickly want to tell you that we have a lot of information to share with you. We will be very quick. You've received some of it prior to this meeting. And this evening we also put a budget in front of you just so you would have the detail of the tourism budget. This is something that the Tourism Committee and our Chamber Board of Directors has approved for the year and is included in your city's budget, but wanted you to have that. That being said, I'm going to let Ashley do the majority of this presentation. She is the expert in our tourism field, and she has a lot of really positive information to share with you. We've made a lot of changes this past year, very positive strides, and we're very, very proud of that. I have a team that I am very proud of that works on this for you on behalf of the city, and so I will let her share that information with you. Thank you.
DJ, before you sit down, I've got a question.
I knew you would. Yes, sir.
Did you coordinate with LeBron James on your LA Laker gear there?
I coordinated with Councilman Coleman on my bright colors tonight.
Well, you did a good job.
Very well done. Very well done.
Thank you, DJ. Members of the council, I can't believe it's already been a year, but thank you for having us here again to be able to share with you some of our triumphs and some of our challenges that we've encountered this year. We're really excited to share with you some of the things that we have experienced. So before we get into those successes and those challenges that we have come up against, I really want to say thank you again on behalf of the Chamber, our staff. Tourism is something that we're passionate about. We don't take the responsibility of that lightly in any way. And I just want to assure you in our confidence in the team that we have in place and just how much we respect the responsibility that comes along with this contract and the responsibility to deliver this program to perform ethically and efficiently and effectively. So thank you again for another year. So this is our team of professionals. It looks like it didn't quite format properly, but anyway, we've got all of the team members listed there, and you'll see the asterisk. The single asterisk denotes the employees that are paid partially out of the tourism funds, and then myself being the only double asterisk, I'm paid 100% out of the tourism funds. And you'll see a little bit better breakdown of the administrative cost as well as salary, including salary, on that budget. If you flip it over on the back, there's a little bit more administrative detail there, just to help you see how it's kind of broken down. These are the members of our tourism committee. We are full. All of our seats are occupied. The asterisk there beside certain committee members' names denotes members of our community support subcommittee. So that's the review committee that meets before the tourism committee every month to discuss the community support grant requests that we get and then make an official recommendation to the tourism committee, which ultimately goes on to the chamber board of directors for approval. And then additional subcommittee members are listed just under there. The Community Support Grant Program granted $40,000 in this last fiscal year. We were able to consolidate the annual support grant program and the Community Support Grant Program into one program. And if for any that are kind of unaware of what the differences were, the annual support grant program was a long-standing grant that went to events that have been long-running, but given the budget that we've had to work with, we needed to figure out how we can make those dollars, how we can use those dollars most effectively and make sure that they're going to supporting new events that are meant to enhance the quality of life and enhance the tourism experience in Muskogee. So we did put in place a 3-year limit on events. If events are not self-sufficient by the end of 3 years, then it's time to step back for a reevaluation. But it also requires them to reapply every year for those recurring events and for us to be able to look at it subjectively each year and discuss whether we think that it's headed towards self-sufficiency or if there's another alternative for that. So you can see some of the events that are listed there, the Batfish, several of their events, the Bare Bones, the Craft Beer Fest that the Friends of Honor Heights Park put on, Omhoff's Summer Concert Series, the Oklahoma Movie Hall of Fame induction, and several others. The large special projects that we did this last year, one of our most recent ones was the Oklahoma Festival of Ballooning. We did partner with Parks and Rec and with the city, mainly with the marketing campaign and the graphic design of the marketing campaign and all of that. Justin's been working very hard on that. But we appreciate the opportunity for partnership in that and to be able to help it grow. So we're really excited about bringing that here with Parks and Rec. The APT Pro Golf Tournament, Bassmaster Opens, the Exchange Club Chili and Barbecue Cook-Off. The kickoff, we actually helped the Exchange Club extend that into a 2-day event. So part of what we wanted to do with large special projects was to dedicate that money to some of those annually recurring events and see what we can contribute to help those events grow into a 2 or 3 or more day event. And that was one of the events that we kind of wanted to test it out on. It was very successful. $61,000 spent out of large special projects on those events, and 400 plus hotel stays out of the last 3 events. And that's a conservative number. Those are confirmed through the host hotels. So we feel like that was a really successful expenditure of the large special projects this last fiscal year. Something we've started doing, you may have seen out on Shawnee, in front of RE/MAX across from Baycone is a big, beautiful digital billboard, LED billboard. And we did secure a slide there just for the purpose of providing free marketing, free ad space for local events. So we started that in April, and those are just some of the slides that we've been running there. The Balloon Festival one is actually going up after the Soul Fest this weekend, or the Gospel Fest this upcoming weekend. But that's just something that we can provide that is free of cost to the event organizers and another way that we can help promote things locally. So we're really excited to be able to roll that out. And we have thus far designed all of the billboards and the graphics in-house for those, free of charge. The trade shows that we have attended this year, that's another item that we really wanted to look at and say, okay, how can we use the most, get the most out of these dollars that we're spending and allocate a little bit less. So rather than nickel and diming it in regional shows, we decided to try something different. And we attended the largest national travel trade show in the United States. It's actually an international trade show, the Denver Travel and Adventure Show, that had over 31,000 attendees. That was in March. And we found that was a really good location for us, actually, because a lot of people cut right through here when they're headed to the East Coast or down to Florida from that part of the country. A lot of familiarity, but a lot of new connections made. So that's exciting. That's something that we will be doing this next year, rather than going to 10 shows in Tulsa and Fort Smith to do one big show where some people may not be as familiar with us as a destination. So the hotel motel tax collection. I'm sure you've all seen the numbers for the last fiscal year. down almost $69,000 this last year. And these numbers are reported to us by the City of Muskogee. We get that report monthly. However, you will see the visitor numbers, which are also reported externally. Those are provided to us monthly by the attractions. Neither of these numbers come internally. These are all provided to us externally. The visitor numbers, we had a record-breaking year this last year. In the last 10 years, we have not broken 2 million. So we had nearly 1 million in growth in visitor numbers, but a decrease in the hotel tax collection. So we've looked into why we think that may be. Honestly, we're not sure. There are a couple of things that could contribute to why numbers maybe were a little bit higher in the past. But this does kind of beg the question, do we need to reevaluate what we define as tourism? Because these people, this many people are coming to these events. Maybe they're day trippers. They're coming and they are spending money on gas and eating in our community. Maybe they aren't staying in the hotel rooms, but they're still contributing and making economic impact in our community and are still not from our community, so still considered tourists. So just something to kind of think about there with those numbers. But we're really proud of that. We've got a lot more people coming to our events, so we're really proud to see that number and finally breaking the 2s. So this is just something I wanted to share with you guys. I wanted you to see it in front of you. I would be happy to share this with anyone, sit down and talk you through how this number works, this formula works out. Whenever we're finding, you may have seen the newspaper quote, X amount of dollars, I think it was $1.2 million in economic impact with Bassmaster Opens. And you're probably wondering how that number comes to be. This is the formula that we use, and this is based on the state formula and state amounts. The state averages for how much is spent on day trips, overnight trips, and then we plug in those numbers accordingly, according to the individual event. So again, this is something I'm happy to share with anyone. We can sit down and I can kind of walk you through it. But I want you to see how we get that and realize that economic impact is not direct money spent in the community, but overall what's recycled through the community and what kind of effect it has long-term on our economy. That's what this formula represents. So last year we were really excited about rolling out the app and the widget on our website, the trip planning widget. This has been extremely successful. We've had a lot of positive feedback on this. We actually were ahead of the game with this. We were the first destination in Oklahoma to have a trip planning app and widget. Since then, the state Oklahoma Tourism has signed on actually with the same company that we use, as well as several other destinations throughout Oklahoma. It's really successful. We get a lot of good feedback on this and a lot of downloads on the apps. What you see, the screenshot there to the left, are individual notifications that you get whenever I believe the top one is when you come into the city limits. You'll get a notification on your phone welcoming you to the city limits. And then the next one is for the Oklahoma Music Hall of Fame, and then Hatbox. So every attraction in town has a geofence around it and some sort of unique notification that's either inviting you, just a general invitation or welcome, or letting you know about the events that are going on at that attraction. So that's something that people have really enjoyed. Professional development is yet another line item that we had to reassess and decide what was really important and most valuable to us. What you see pictured here is the Travel and Tourism College, provided by TTIA, sponsored by TTIA. It's extremely valuable, very condensed week-long course. Over the course of 3 years, you become a certified tourism executive, and I just finished up my sophomore year. It's a great networking opportunity. You meet with people from the industry across the United States, and a lot of large destinations that are doing some really innovative things. So it's nice to be able to take bits and pieces from that and see a lot of the projects that we have going on reflected in some of the things that they're discussing as well. So convention recruitment is something that we have focused on this fiscal year. We did begin this in March. We've got an online subscription to a database of boards for organizations and associations across the United States in every industry and market segment that you can think of. The screenshot here that you see is searching up national agricultural groups. So what that does is provides a list and contact information for you to be able to reach out and say, we're from Muskogee. We have, facilities from 20 people to 3,000 people. Bring your meeting here. And we've also earmarked funds to incentivize recruitment and to bring these groups to Muskogee, to get them in the Civic Center, to get that place, going again. We're really excited to have the city working with us on that as well. So this is Merle. This is one of our big projects for the next fiscal year. The mayor accompanied us when we went to Arkansas earlier this year, and we met with the attorney that represents the estate of Merle Haggard. We're trying to put together a celebration, a citywide celebration in his honor in 2019. And we've got several other projects working with that, but you'll see that a lot of that being marketed over the next probably 6 months or so. But some of the other things that we've got going on this next year, the Muskogee Attraction Directors Association is something that we decided to try to herd the cats, so to speak, and get everyone in the same room, everyone from every attraction, just having a casual conversation. We noticed that a lot of them were either unable to come to the tourism committee meetings or just weren't getting enough out of it. So that provided them another avenue to be able to kind of speak one-on-one and just brainstorm and talk about what's happening in tourism and what they want to see happen in tourism. So that's been really successful. The digital visitor tracking system I didn't want to neglect touching on because it was something we were really excited about last year. We did do a beta test with a software company that through Christmas, and we were underwhelmed with their performance, to say the least. So we, rather than spend the dollars and just go ahead and sign a contract with them because it was, it was to say that we had done it, we've been looking into alternatives, cost-effective alternatives that would provide that same information. What we're finding is that this technology is still extremely new and extremely expensive. But that is something that we do have earmarked, again, in the budget that you have before you, and something that we are still very interested in finding a solution to. So I don't want you to think that that's been neglected or forgotten in any way. We've been a part of the Highway 69, Stop the Bypass with the city and with Muskogee Hotel and Lodging Association. We've still been working very closely with them. And they've had a lot of input this last fiscal year. I think that we've developed an excellent relationship with them, and they feel comfortable coming to us with suggestions and what they want to see happen. So I feel like all of our relationships all around have gotten much better, and everyone feels like that our program is effective. And so that's good to know that we have the trust built and that you see the results in the program that you're wanting to see. But most of all, we're here to serve the community. We're here to serve you guys. So not just now. I welcome questions now, but I want you to know that our office is open at all times to any of you, myself, DJ, and any of us in the office. We keep 2 years of records on tourism. I keep them at my desk, ready. But we're happy to sit down and meet with you anytime you have any questions whatsoever. So with that, I will take any questions.
I've got a couple.
All right.
Are you the least bit suspicious of the big jump in the amount of tourists that we've had at some of our venues?
I would say no. And quite honestly, at first, I did look at it pretty subjectively because that's a significant jump. But you also have to consider the amount of large events that we've had this last year that did bring people in the hundreds and the thousands. But
do you break these down per Batfish, per this, per that event?
yes.
Yeah, I'd like to come over and say hello and have you kind of show me some of that stuff.
I would be more than happy to. I actually did bring a copy of it if we can make some copies. But we keep the year to date. Just as a snapshot. We have it broken down by month also in a spreadsheet as those numbers are reported to us, but we do have them and they're broken down by attraction.
I'd like to see where we did the big pickup. My other question is, I heard rumor sitting on the park board that maybe the Chamber of Tourism Department was going to be working on some pamphlets to hand out at the Balloon Fest.
As far as advertising,
Talking about our different venues, our batfish, our see that we'll have balloons going up early in the morning and then late evening or early afternoon. And for our visitors out of town, if when they went to park, if they were handed out a brochure on, while you're here, go see the batfish, go see the history museum, go see the 5 civilized tribes, on and on and on. I think that'd be real helpful. As a matter of fact, while you're here, download our widget and drive around town and see what pops up.
right?
And whether those are subsidized with restaurants that say, hey, come eat at my place at lunchtime, come in and cool off or whatever. But I'd hate to waste that opportunity of hundreds, maybe thousands of people from out of town not having something just given to them. Here's what you do while you're here between the 12 hours between events, or 10 hours.
Absolutely. I misunderstood your question. I apologize. I thought you meant the development of a new literature. But that was something that we had discussed and that we had talked with Mark about, was a vendor booth, just a Visit Muskogee to have literature available.
Well,
and doing that at a lot more large events. That is something that we already do. But
what my hope would be, and again, it could be subsidized, but what my hope would be is every car that pulls in there, they're handed, here's what you can do while you're here, and here's our widget, and here's this, and here's that. And I might quiz you about that when I come and see you, but I think that's very important.
absolutely.
I mean,
I agree.
We've got these people right there.
And that's what we have, our activities guide that we do annually, that has a list of businesses and events, annual events, and does reference the app and the widget and everything. But we put those visitor packets together. We do have 100 that are going to some of the balloon meisters. I'm not sure what their
Yeah,
titles
no,
are, but they're teams that have all of that local information, local literature.
That's wonderful. And if we've got 2,000 or 3,000 of those to hand out, that's great. But if we don't, just a double-sided piece of paper, just something to
Right.
give to these people.
Absolutely, you will see that there.
Good. Thank you.
So kind of back on, like, with the number of visitors, so would, like, if someone went to the Batfish and went to the Butterfly Garden, are we counting those people twice?
It's individual. It's visitors to each individual attraction. So since there's no way to really tally whether to track them, so to speak, then it could be the same visitor. Yes.
Okay.
Theoretically, because it's each attraction is sharing their log with us.
Okay.
So
But that's okay.
Yep.
they're going more places.
Yes.
Keep burning time, and you'll stay the night. So
Go ahead, Wayne.
Go ahead.
My thing is that I was at an event this weekend in Broken Arrow, which is part of our club that we deal with, and a lot of people up there was telling me that they come to our water park. Is that number up this year versus the years past?
let's look here.
Because a lot of these guys go, this is our first time ever being there, and it was awesome. They loved it. And I'm like, okay, maybe, I'm just curious how many people go to our water park every year.
That's gone up significantly. So for year to date, 16-17, the number was at 87,500 and some change, and then 17-18 fiscal year was 180,200. And those attractions, like the water park, those are confirmed. Those are ticket sales, entry sales. So that's a safe bet that it's not a clicker or signing a guest book like some attractions may have to resort to count guests. That's confirmed sales. So that's almost 100,000 jump.
Because there was a lot of people talking to me about it this week. They're like, hey, Dan, I was in your city this week, and I was in your city last week, and I'm going, so what are y'all doing? They're like, we're going to the water park. They're like, okay. I'm like, that little park is a big draw to a lot of people. These people from
Absolutely.
Sapulpa, Sand Springs, and as far away as Owasso, and I'm going, okay, come on down. So maybe we should do something a little bit more with that, maybe make it a little bigger or something. But I don't know. We may need to look at putting some more money into that and putting another attraction. to make it a little bigger so that they feel like it's a little more for their money when they get here. Maybe we draw a few more people.
We're definitely open to giving input and being a part of that conversation. And it is a big attraction. It is something that we don't want to neglect in the future. Marketing
That
is an
maybe one of
asset.
those Patrick Kell things where we put a brochure over there and say, hey, this is what you could do when you're tired of playing in the water.
Right.
Head over here.
We do have the brochure racks there at most
Okay.
attractions, but especially at River Country. Those go so fast. We keep our activities guides stocked there, and we go by there once a week to keep those stocked so that, you know, parents, while they're sitting there watching their kids play, they have something to kind of flip through and plan the rest of their day. That's probably one of the fastest. We have to refill those the most. So
Thank you very much.
absolutely. Thank you.
Wanted to check, are we working with Parks and Rec as far as on the Balloon Fest, as far as developing their Facebook page and information page on that? Because I know it's been a little slow getting up as far as
The graphic design aspect, the social media marketing campaign, that was all, I won't say all, majority has been done in our office. I will say that they partnered with a third-party company to help market it. I believe they were out of Kansas, that kind of stepped in and wanted to tweak the logo and some of the campaign a little bit. So we ended up having to kind of step back a bit so that they could do what they wanted to do. But we absolutely we have administrative access to that, and you know, we're sharing it personally and on our visit page and everything. So that's definitely something we have a hand in, a heavy hand in, and we're happy to. Unfortunately, we don't have the luxury of, you know, 6 months in advance to market that. So we're pushing really hard in these 2 months or so that we've had to push that.
okay.
But to let you know, Wayne, you'd be very pleased that our company we've partnered with is very proactive in saying, you know, hey, let's put Joe's balloon and Patrick's balloon and Wayne's balloon and show pictures, and so they've been a big help, is my understanding, a huge help.
Last time we were talking about, and I wanted to check on the kiosk that's out at Quick Trip. Have we been any more successful in getting it functioning and operational as far as new information on it?
The
I know
software
that vendor has been challenging to work with.
just a little, but we were able to negotiate the contract down to where it does expire this calendar year. So I believe it's October or November. We will be free from our obligation to them. We do not plan to renew that. That's something that we feel like the app and the widget has sort of replaced that demographic, you know, that we'll be able to reach that demographic through that. They have not, it just hasn't performed or done what we were hoping, and the software was not, the interface was not nearly as updated as frequently or easy to use as we had originally hoped when our predecessors signed on with that. So we were able to negotiate our way out of that, and you will no longer see those after October in either location.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it again, and please let us know if you have any questions or would like to schedule a sit-down anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Keep up the good work.
Do we need to do anything?
No action necessary.
Item 11.
Consider approval to renumber the following resolutions. A resolution approving and adopting a best practices handbook for Oklahoma municipalities from resolution number 2732 to resolution number 2734 as previously approved by the City Council on June 25th, 2018, and a resolution authorizing participation in the OMAG recognition program from resolution number 2733 to resolution number 2735 as previously approved by City Council on July 9th, 2018, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Tucker.
Madam Deputy Mayor, members of the council, this is a housekeeping measure. We have a couple of resolutions that were recently passed that bore the same numbers, and so we need to go ahead and recognize, for purposes of our minutes, the changes in those numbers. Both of these represent issues that were recently considered, in particular the best practices handbook, as well as our participation in the OMAG program. So we're not asking you to reconsider these items or anything of that nature. All we're simply asking is that you take action to approve the renumbering of these particular resolutions, and that's all. So this is truly a housekeeping measure to just renumber these existing resolutions. Happy to answer any questions.
Move for approval. Second.
Third.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
We didn't have anyone sign up to speak, did we? Okay. Item 12, I mean.
Consider an executive session to discuss and take possible action on the following. A, pursuant to Section 307B2, Title 25, Oklahoma statutes, consider convening an executive session to discuss negotiations with the Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge Number 95, and if necessary, take appropriate action in open session. B, pursuant to Section 307B3 and C10, Title 25, Oklahoma statutes, consider convening an executive session to discuss the purchase of real property as well as to confer on matters pertaining to an economic development project within the city of Muskogee, and if necessary, take appropriate action in open session.
Make a motion, we go into executive session.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
And the motion carries. Roll call, please.
Mayor Bob Coburn. Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston.
Here.
Dan Hall.
Here.
Marlon Coleman. Jamie Stout.
Here.
Wayne Johnson.
Here.
Patrick Kale.
Here.
Ivory Van. Derek Reed.
Here.
Item 12.
Pursuant to Section 307B2, Title 25, Oklahoma statutes, the City Council did convene an executive session to discuss ongoing negotiations with the Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge Number 95. After being briefed on the status of those negotiations and the necessity for an MOU relating to the promotional criteria, I believe an appropriate motion would be to consider approval of a memorandum of understanding with the Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge Number 95, related to the modification of promotional criteria.
Move for approval.
Second.
Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Item 12B, pursuant to Section 307B3 and C10 of Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, the City Council did convene an executive session to discuss the purchase of real property as well as confer on matters pertaining to an economic development project within the city. After being briefed on the status of a plan of enticement for an economic development project within the city, no action is necessary at this time. Deputy Mayor?
Yes, thank you. And that concludes our meeting this evening, and thank you for being here.
Thank you.